The rules here are simple. I read the mystery document, I either get the author correct or I get shocked. Okay, here we go. The information highway will extend the electronic marketplace and make it the ultimate go-between, the universal
go-between って仲会社ね。
middleman.
書いてあるね、ユニバースミドル。
Often the only humans involved in a transaction will be the actual buyer and the seller. All the goods for sale in the world will be available for you to examine, compare, and often customize. When you want to buy something, you'll be able to tell your computer to find it for you at the best price offered by any acceptable source, or ask your computer to haggle with the computers of various sellers. Information about vendors and their products and services will be available to any computer connected to the highway. Servers distributed worldwide will accept bids, resolve offers into completed transactions, control authentication and security,
Authentication 認証ね。Security.
and handle all other aspects of the marketplace, including the transfer of funds. This will carry us into a new
Friction って摩擦。オーバーヘッド少ないキャピタリズムですね。
world of low friction, low overhead capitalism, in which market information will be plentiful and transaction costs low. It will be a shopper's heaven. Stan.
買い物天国ですね。
That sounds like something that Amazon founder Jeff Bezos would say. No? Dang it!
談義というと何くそうですね。
Bill Gates? Let me tell you how much I enjoy this. None. The information superhighway, it made all of this possible, including my shock pen. Now, one of the lessons of history is that good news for someone is almost always bad news for someone else, and that was certainly the case with the longest period of economic expansion in American history. Increased use of information technology facilitated the globalization of manufacturing, and the pressure to manufacture cheaply pushed wages down and
結局まあこのグローバルな製造業を展開したんだけど、pushed wages down なんですよね。
encouraged companies to locate factories in countries with lower environmental regulations and also lower wages. That's great for companies, it's good for prices, arguably good for workers in the developing world. Not so
デベロッピングワールドね、やっぱり移ったわけですね。
great for the environment or for American workers. The deregulation of finance also contributed to global growth. Capital could flow more easily anywhere in the world, but this also meant that it could flow out easily, making financial crises more likely and more widespread. The growth of free
金融の自由化ですね。
flowing capital in the 1990s created a world in which the crash of 2008 was
2008年の後の金融危機ですね。これ2008年の後だよね。
more or less inevitable. But before that, we had the crash of 2000. As money flowed into the stock market, bubbles developed. And in some ways,
ドットコムバブルが2000年にあったんだね。
this was more problematic than it used to be because a much greater percentage of Americans had become investors in stocks, an actual majority of them by the year 2000. And many of these investors were buying into these hot new .com stocks. In fact,
ドットコムストックが2000年に暴落したんですよね。
the tech-heavy Nasdaq exchange soared in 1998 and
1998に soared もう上がった1999年で2000年に暴落。
1999, and then it lost 80% of its value in 2000 when
ほら、lost 80% of its value でしょ。
the bubble burst. It turns out that the pets.com business model of selling you dog food at a loss is not a sustainable business model. Although to be fair, Amazon's been selling stuff at a loss now for 20 years and they're still at it. So, you know, maybe I'm wrong. So during this period, real wages grew, but the gains were very unequal. Like when you adjust for inflation, wages of non-supervisory workers remain
だから所得格差広がった。
below what they were in the 1970s. And for the poor, it was even worse. Our old friend Eric Foner reports that average after-tax income of the poorest one-fifth of Americans
最も貧しい人の5分の1、
fell 12%, and that of the middle one-fifth
12% 下がったんですよね。
decreased by 3%.
中
Meanwhile, the
間所得層の5分の1は 3%。
income of the top fifth in
でトップのトップフィフス、トップのフィフス5、トップフィフス
5番トップ5
インカムトップフィフスなんだ。フィフス
5番
トップフィフス5番目
increased by
30%。
38%. Now, of course, this trend toward economic
トップフィフスっていうことはトップフィフスだ。トップのフィフス
はいはい
5番目ってことは 5% かな。まあ所得格差インニュークオリティだね。
inequality and the majority of jobs being created in low-wage, insecure service industries would continue into the 21st century. But the economic
だからクリントンの時に所得格差が広がっていったんだよね。
and political pictures that we've sought to paint only tell half the story of the 1990s because it was also a decade characterized by what has been called the culture wars. A big part of this was immigration, which rose
カルチャーはこれイミグレーションだね。
enormously after immigration reform in 1965. Between 1965 and 2000, the U.S. saw almost 24 million
だから65、2000年に2400万人。
immigrants arrive, compared with 27 million during the peak immigration period between 1880 and 1924. Fully half of the new immigrants came from Latin America
ラテンアメリカ、カリビアンね。
and the Caribbean. 35% came from Asia, only 10% came from Europe, and most of them were from the former USSR and the Balkans. As had always been the case, most immigrants were attracted by labor opportunities, but now more were highly educated. In fact, 40% had college educations. Let's go to the thought bubble. Latinos were the largest immigrant
ラティーノが南米ですね。
group by far, with Mexicans making up the largest contingent, and by 2007,
コンティンジェントって代表団って訳したけど、
Latinos would replace African
これ2番目だね、ラティーノ。
日のぶりです
Americans as the second largest ethnic group. Latinos suffered disproportionate poverty, and despite significant economic gains during the 1990s, African Americans still found their economic opportunities limited. According to Eric Foner, in 2007, the total assets of the median white
こんにちは。
family stood at $87,000.
これさ、アメリカ人の白人は8万7000ドル所得ね。だからブラックファミリーはわずか5400ドル。
For black families, the figure was $5,400. Diversity also increased in other ways, like single-parent families became
だからシングルペアレントファミリーはmore accepted essentially as 50% of marriage.
more accepted, which was essential as 50% of marriages ended in divorce. Out-of-wedlock births declined,
Wedlock birth っていうのは非着死。
primarily because teenagers were practicing
お茶ない、下でいいよ。
safer sex, and teens and adults were cohabitating before or instead of marriage.
コハビティングって同棲するね。
Eventually, the mom
だから以前はね、マムデンで 2.4 キ 2.4 キッズだったから、スタンダードアメリカンハウスホール became only one of that.
dad and 2.4 kids standard American household became only one of a number of accepted options for families. Gay and trans people became
ゲイとトランスジェンダー people become.
increasingly visible in the national consciousness as a result of the GLBT
これだから、コンシャスネスという考え方ね、意識。